Okay, so today we're going to talk about the buyer consultation. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the whole page. This is one of our there we go. This is one of our best tools for working with buyers and really for converting any leads that you have to people who are going to want to work with you. The point of the buyer consultation is to explain to anyone who might be interested in purchasing a home what your role is, what it's like to work with you, and what they can expect through the journey of the home buying process. Many people will, contact you at an open house, come through, click through, a link, a lead, whatever it is, without being fully versed on what it takes to purchase a home here in New York City. And so what the buyer consultation does is it allows you to take them step by step through that entire process. What I'm going to do today is kind of go through each page. And, again, like the listing presentation, these are meant to be things that you can kind of edit to your style. You can take pages out if you don't like using them. You can update them with market statistics and information on the market that these people are looking in so that you can kind of go through everything. So again, the first page is just kind of a general intro page. And again, on the next page, what I always say is, hey, we're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about what the home buying process looks like, what it's like to work with me as a buyer's agent, and then get ready to go out and see some properties. So again, the first thing that you want to get from them is what is their motivation for moving, right? Why are they moving? What are the reasons that they're either upsizing, downsizing, changing locations and things like that? And finding out their motivation is important because it can also allow you to figure out what happens if they don't find something, right? On this page, I tend to say, oh, do you have a lease that's expiring and when is the expiration date, right? Because then you know when they have to move by. The great thing in this market with kind of still tight rental inventory is that we can always help someone sublease or re-rent their apartment in case the dates don't line up, right? Let's say their lease is up in 8 months and they find something right away, right? We can always help them find something for 6 months later. So, really asking them, and the whole point of this presentation is to ask as many questions as possible. So you say, what is your motivation for moving? Why are you moving? I know you mentioned that you guys are relocating from Pennsylvania. How did you decide on what neighborhood you're looking at, right? Stuff like that. The next one is to say, tell me about you and your dream home, right? This is a great one because you can kind of get a sense. And again, sometimes you'll have already had a conversation with them about what they're looking for, but this really reaffirms and you can take notes and again, ask them, hey, where are you looking to move, right? Well, I'm not really sure about neighborhoods. Okay, is there a certain train line that you'd like to be near or that's easily accessible to your place of work? Are you looking at co-ops, condos, townhouses, or lofts? Well, I don't know the difference between a co-op and a condo. Great. Let me explain to you the difference between the two, right? In a co-op, you're purchasing shares of a corporation that owns the building. You'll have one monthly fee, which is your maintenance fee, which includes the upkeep of the building, as well as the taxes and your proportionate share of the taxes for the entire building. In a condo, you're purchasing real property. You'll purchase a unit and a percentage of the common elements of the building. And you'll have 2 monthly fees, right? You'll have a common charge, which pays for the upkeep of the building, and you'll have taxes that you pay directly to the city because you have your own tax law, right? In a townhouse, you have taxes and any utilities. Kind of a loft is similar to a condo or co-op, right? Are there certain amenities that you're looking for, right? Again, is it doorman, walk-up, townhouse? What is your price point? And again, the way that I like to ask it is, what is your target price point, right? That's rather than saying what's your max budget, right? It makes them feel like they're targeting a number. It's not that, oh, they can only go up to a certain number. Do you have pets or are you looking to have pets, right? Many buildings in New York don't allow dogs. Other ones that do allow dogs only allow them to 25 pounds. And so again, we're out of luck with Donnie because he's like 120 pounds. So again, are there certain subways or schools that you need to be in proximity to? Are you looking for a building with a doorman or no doorman? Again, elevator or walk up, right? These are all things that you can ask them to start to get a sense of their preferences. One of the most important things is that we have to remember that we always have to be a little bit flexible, right? You're not always going to get them exactly what they want. And this kind of whole thing is a negotiation between what are the most important things that they're looking for. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is talk about interest rates, inventory, and the difference between a buyer and a seller's market. Right. Again, this chart's a little outdated, so you can always take this out. But right now we're around 7%. So back to the 2022, 2002, 2007 levels, but we're still at historic lows. Again, we'll get a new page for this. Let me take a note of this. But what you can do is you can tell them, hey, there are many ways out there that you can get even better rates than this, right? Many banks have different affiliate programs. So depending on the down payment you're putting in, there are options for ARMs, there are options to negotiate prepaid interest from the seller at closing and things like that. And so again, rates might be higher than they were a couple months ago, but they're still at low levels compared to almost all of history, right? And that's a great thing that you can point out to them. Again, prices are kind of going down a little bit, rates are going up a little bit, and so we're still in a mid-range for buying. One of the things that I talk to people about when I'm doing a buyer consultation is the rent versus buy equation, right? And this is something that I went over on one of the workshops when we were talking about the market. But at many price points, people are going to save money because of the huge increase in rent that has happened over the last year. Right? If someone's renting a one bedroom for $6,500 a month, which for a doorman building is pretty standard right now, they can buy a one bedroom co-op for probably under $1 million. And the numbers are probably going to save them a couple $100s, if not thousands of dollars, once the tax implications and interest benefits are taken into account for purchasing a home, right? And so it is really a great time for most people to buy, especially if they're renting. This is what's happening to home values. Right now, we're in a pretty steady market. They're not going up too much. Again, we're going to leave this one out for now. And again, this is an important slide to me, right? See how fast properties sell when they're priced right. Many of you who are active in the market are seeing what's going on, right? And we are seeing properties that are well priced going into contract within a week or two. Right? And so if someone comes on the market at a great price, they're going to go into contract very quickly. If someone overprices, it's going to sit on the market. And so that can help you. And by looking at the kind of target market that they're looking in, right? Let's say someone's looking for a 2-bedroom under $1 million in Brooklyn Heights, right? Those things probably go pretty quickly versus a 1-bedroom under $1 million in Brooklyn Heights, which is sitting on the market, right? And so what you can do is take a quick look at their market before you start talking to them and print out a couple examples of things that have gone to contract quickly, right? And you can say, oh, well-priced things are going quickly. That's why I do this buyer consultation, right? That's why I want you to be prepared so that when we see a place you like, you have all your ducks in a row and you can put in an order, right? When I talk on this page, I also say, I want to take all the pressure off you right now. To me, I want you to be a client for life, and it doesn't matter if you buy in a week, a month, or a year. Right? I want you to find a great home at a great value, and I want to be the broker that you refer to your friends and family. And by saying something like that, it takes pressure off them for thinking that they're wasting your time or that something is kind of going on and stuff like that. Sorry. Okay, so this is what we call kind of the buyer journey map. Right? And this explains to any home buyer who's looking at a condo or co-op in New York what the process is. And so if you're new to the business, what you want to do is review this and make sure that you understand the timeline and the timing of how things happen, right? And I'm just going to go over that fairly quickly now. Again, the first step is the buyer consultation. That's getting all the information. And after this, we'll want to make sure that you're pre-approved for a mortgage. Have you spoken to a mortgage broker yet, right? And if they say yes, say, great, I'd love for you to connect me with them so that I can have a conversation and make sure I have an updated pre-approval letter for you. If they say no, say, great, not a problem. I'm going to introduce you to our mortgage specialist, Doug Cleary. He can help get you pre-approved. And we can also recommend a couple other people so that you can get the best rate, because your mortgage rate is equally as important as the purchase price. Once we have your pre-approval in hand, we can go look at homes. And when you're ready to put in an offer, we're going to put one together. In New York City, offers are made in good faith, but they're not binding. It's not like in some other states where when you put in an offer, you sign a contract, right? When we put in an offer, we put together your pre-approval, your revenue financial statement, which is kind of your financial backup for any co-op, and we put it in. And then there's negotiation, and we have some time before you need to sign the contract, right? There'll be some negotiation in step 5. We'll reach an agreement. And again, the next thing is that your attorney will get involved. Do you happen to have a New York real estate attorney you're working with? No? Great. Let me introduce you to a couple of them, and you can pick who works best from you, right? And again, think of how powerful those two things are, and being able to do that kind of after your first showing or at the beginning of your search with someone, right? Make sure they have a mortgage approval, so you're not running around and showing properties without it, right? Make sure they have an attorney ready, so when you find a place, you're not scrambling to find someone that they want to work with, right? If you need an inspection, we can definitely do that. And if you're getting financing, we'll do an appraisal. After that, and once we have that, we'll put together a board package for the condo or for the co-op. Again, I'm very well versed at that. You don't have anything to worry about. It's basically assembling some financial documents for review by the building. We have options for home protection plans. The attorneys will confirm the closing. We'll do a walkthrough the day before to make sure all the owner's stuff is out of there. And then we'll be at the closing table and you'll be able to move in, right? From start to finish, for a condo, this takes about 60 days. And for a co-op, it takes about 90 days. How does that work with your timeline, right? Again, asking them questions and taking them through this process, right? And so again, if you don't know this process, review it because it's very important. You can also rewatch the video on YouTube about working with a condo or co-op buyer that really goes through the process as well. But this is kind of it at a glance. Again, we have a virtual toolbox for anything that you could possibly need. If you can't make it to open houses, I can definitely videotape for you or go there for you, do neighborhood walkthroughs and things like that. And we're here to keep everything simple. Again, my job is to negotiate on your behalf, right? We'll talk about the disclosure forms at the end of this presentation, but I'm here to help you make the best decision possible, right? And I'm going to help present your offer, help reach an agreement and negotiate all the terms and help you with the board package. The great thing by working with me as your buyer's agent is that I'm going to be your single point of contact, right? Anything you see on Weichert.com, new constructions, for sale by owners, open houses, anything on any real estate website, I can get you into, right? And so if you see anything that you like online that didn't come through what I sent, just send it over to me. I'll do all the due diligence for you and save you time and money. Again, I'm here to explain all the steps involved, return your calls promptly, act as your connection to all real estate services, represent your point of view, and do everything I can to simplify the process. Again, Weichert can represent you in a bunch of different ways. We're going to be talking about the disclosure forms in a moment, and we'll go over what that looks like. And again, I'm going to make sure that you are introduced to a mortgage advisor who will either get you a pre-approval or who can check yours and make sure that everything's in order for you to be able to purchase. Again, here at Weichert, we have an all-under-one-roof team where we're going to start with helping you find out your purchasing power, find a home. We can help you finance it. We have Jamie, our amazing insurance specialist, who will make sure that everything's protected. We'll help you close. And we even have some movers that we can recommend, right? So we're here for every stage of this journey. I'm really excited to go and see some properties. And again, I have a couple that we can see today. But before we do that, I just want to go over 2 forms that are required by the Department of State. The first is the disclosure form for buyer and seller. And in this case, you're going to be working with me as an agent of Weichert Properties, and I'm working with you as a buyer's agent. Again, I'm going to have you sign and date this. All this states is that you understand that my fiduciary responsibility is to you. I am working on your behalf. And the best thing about that is that I am paid by the seller at closing, right? And you have someone to negotiate for you, help you out with the search, and do all the legwork with you and for you. The second is the discrimination form, right? There are many ways which you could feel like you're discriminated against in this industry. And I just want to let you know the different protected classes, they're all listed here, and how you could be discriminated against. Never happened before with me, but here I just have to disclose this to you. And if you wouldn't mind signing this, great. Really excited to go out and look at some properties and to work with you. And I'd love to answer any additional questions that you might have. That's it, right? How long was that? That was 15 minutes. And again, there'll be questions in there. So this is probably a 20-minute presentation that you can do. And again, it goes over every little step of the buyer consultation, right? It goes over every little question that could come up. And again, if there are additional things, right? These are tailored for condos and co-ops. We can change it a little bit if you need it for a home purchase or a multifamily. Just let me know. We can kind of help you with those pages. But I'd like to take time to answer any questions that you might have. Again, I know I went through it on the quicker side, but I can go back through any pages or explain anything that you might not know. And again, if there are pages in here you don't want to use, take them out, right? The best thing about this is it's fully customizable for you so that you can really expose a lot of your benefits and the benefits of working with you to your customers, right? Some people put a bio page in so that people can know about them and their background and stuff like that, maybe things they didn't hear before. And what I can tell you is that if you do the buyer consultation, your conversion rates will skyrocket, right? If people sit down with you and do this, and again, I remember the first time I did a formal buyer consultation, I was like, I'm never going to do this. This was about 8 years ago when Weichert acquired our office. I sat down, did it, and they were like, wow, I've gone out with a ton of agents and no one has explained this to me. I'm going to be working with you. And I closed on her, right? It was a lead network lead. So this is very powerful to help convert people. I do this buyer consultation for anyone I'm working with who's purchasing, even people who purchased in the past, even people who are from New York and stuff like that, because it really helps expound all the ways that you can help them. And it helps remind them of the team they need, right? The mortgage broker, the insurance specialist, the real estate attorney, and things like that. And again, it helps you have these quote unquote hard conversations right from the beginning. In the same way that the listing presentation gives all of our value as a listing agent, the buyer consultation does that for any buyer that might be working with. So what kinds of questions do you guys have? No one? Come on. You gotta have some questions. Kathy, Aiden, Peter, Leslie, whoever 646965231010. No questions? So you guys all ready to go out and do this without any practice or anything?
Jason, if I don't do this, the buyer presentation, do I still get paid?
I'm sorry?
If I don't make them sign the buyer presentation forms and everything, do
You
I
need to have
still
them.
get?
You cannot get paid legally without having the disclosure form and the fair housing form and signed.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's, again, you can do it in a different way, but Kathy, I promise you, this helps you convert people.
Okay.
And it helps also save time, right? I mean, again, Peter, you can talk about this. Leslie, think of all the people you ran around with who weren't financially qualified. There are tons of people out there who haven't done their due diligence, don't have a pre-approval, don't have an attorney, don't know the costs of purchasing and stuff like that, right? Some people add all the closing costs to their buyer consultation to go over those. Some people add, again, you can add whatever you want to, right? The REBNY form to go over what that looks like. But by having people informed at the beginning, you can really weed out some people who might not be ready to buy, right? It gets people, it helps you segregate between prime buyers, right? People who are ready, willing, and able to go that are not going to be wasting your time, from non-prime buyers, right? People who are just starting to look. And again, you focus on the ones who are prime, ready to go, have the pre-approval, have the team together and stuff like that.
Good.
Jason?
Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Jason. I just wanted to add, historically, probably the most challenging thing for me has always been co-op board package and trying to explain that to people and letting them really hear what's going to be involved. And oftentimes it doesn't matter how much you tell them. It's almost like you need something as backup to just,
Yeah.
So,
And,
everything's covered. And you can't cover everything, but
yeah,
just generalization of what to expect.
sure. And especially if you're working with someone that they're going to be buying a co-op, right? And again, so this is tailored so you can use it for co-ops or condos. But if someone's going to be in a co-op, maybe you go into a little bit more about approval, right? The board approval process can take a few months, or can take 30 to 60 days. We're going to need to compile some documentation. It's different for every building. Some buildings need just, financials. Some want reference letters, landlord reference letters. It will take some time, but don't worry. I've done a number of packages in the past. I've done 10, I've done dozens, I've done hundreds, I've done thousands of packages in the past, and I will help walk you through every single little step of it.
And also, do we have somewhere in our files something with a fairly up-to-date approximation for closing?
Yep, those are all in the Google.
cost?
They're all in the Google Drive.
Okay, they're updated for anything
Yeah.
else.
Those are updated
Okay,
from the
taxes.
last tax, mansion tax and what do you call it? The mansion tax and the transfer tax changes that happened a couple of years ago.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Anyone, Peter, do you want to add anything, or Aiden, any questions? So again, this
I'm good.
document can be found in the Google Drive still. So you can download it, you can kind of play around with it. Again, I'll send out this video later today. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay, bye.